Welcome to Round Glass. I'm Curtis Smith. Thanks for joining me for this session on connecting to your inner reserves. The goal of this practice is simple. We're going to get grounded and we're going to connect with our bodies and give us an opportunity to relax. Now, coming up, I was a teacher, 10 years in the game in New York City Middle School. One of the things that I led with was mindfulness. Kids in the auditorium, we met for morning meeting every single morning. And what I started with was the breath. I kept it simple. These kids were hungry for peace. They were hungry for something to really help support them in their journey. And the breath was something that was accessible that we could all connect to. So years later, now it's an amazing place that is still going, and we're allowing ourselves to connect with that source. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today is the breath to relax and connect with our bodies. Before we get started, I'd like to know we're live. So how's everybody doing out there? How you feeling? Feel free to share in the chat. I love to hear from you and just to get a sense of how you're doing before we jump into this practice. Nice. I see we have some chats coming or some responses coming in, and I definitely want to thank you all for responding in the chat. We have some people or person who is restless and prepping for a big move. Ironically, I'm prepping for a big move as well. I know how stressful that can be. So you've come to the right place to simply relax and allow that to be outside of you for the moment as we connect to our peace. Another person said, looking forward to this meditation, as am I. 6 o'clock my way, and I'm really looking forward to jumping into this practice with you all so that we can get started on relaxing. So if you have any questions that come up for this session, please leave them in the chat, and I'll definitely have an opportunity to get to those later. As for now, let's go ahead and jump into this practice. And before we get started, go ahead and find a comfortable seat, one where you can hold yourself up and support yourself. You ideally want to be in a position of attention, ready to receive this peace and relaxation. And I'll ask that you place your hands in your lap, your choice. Palms can be up, palms can be down. Whatever your choice is, just make sure it's comfortable. That's going to be what's most important here, is being comfortable. And we're going to allow ourselves to just hold here. And this is going to be the position that we return to. And before we jump into the journey, let us just loosen up our bodies. I like to loosen up the shoulders before we get started. So I want you to act as if your shoulders are trying to touch your ears as you take a deep breath in through your nose and release out through your mouth. Let the shoulders come back. Again, another breath in through the nose, shoulders come up. Release. Carry a lot of tension in our shoulders. Last one, another breath in through the nose, shoulders up. Release. All right. Go ahead and make any movements that feel good for you here in this moment, because the next few moments we're going to get into our stillness and allow ourselves to dive into this practice. So I'll ask that you go ahead and hold that point of stillness. And the challenge will be to continuously hold that point of stillness. You may be tempted to move. The idea is to resist that temptation and just be here with the stillness. And now I'll invite you to either close your eyes, or if you choose to have your eyes open, just pick a point in front of you that's not moving and fix your gaze on it. And let us take a pause as we sit here in this stillness, giving ourselves permission to do nothing. And let us continue by taking 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Taking that first breath in through the nose and release slowly through the mouth. Second breath in through the nose and release slowly through the mouth. Third breath, make it the biggest, in through the nose. And release slowly through the mouth. Now just allow your breath to flow freely, this time in and out through your nose. As we relax, take time to connect with our breath. There's nothing to get right here. Simply allow that breath to naturally come and go. Taking our energy, our focus, and attention, and allowing it to be with our breath. Noticing the pace of your breath. Are you breathing fast or slow? Maybe somewhere in between. Notice if your breath is heavy or soft. Maybe somewhere in between. Just breathe. Allowing the breath to do the work, calming you. Relax your shoulders and jaw. Relax your face. Feel as your body melts into the ground. Just noticing the gravity and the pull on the body. Noticing as that breath comes from the crown of your head to the root of your feet. Just breathe. No need to get fancy here. Anytime you find the mind wandering away, it's perfectly normal. It's actually your opportunity to practice mindfulness. And without judgment, just allow your attention to return back to the breath. Begin to notice where you may feel the breath and where it moves your body. I'll invite you to feel the subtle shift of your chest as it rises and falls with the breath. Perhaps you take a moment and connect with that sensation. I'll invite you to notice the movement of your stomach as it too rises and falls with the breath. Again, know the mind oftentimes doesn't want to sit still, but it's in the stillness is where we can find our peace, where we can make those connections with our bodies, where we can allow the breath to release the stress and anxiety. All this lies in our breath when we choose to pay attention to it can support us. Again, we're simply connecting with our breath, resisting the urge to move on from the breath. It may take multiple times of redirecting. Our grounding comes in the breath. Now that we've noticed the breath, begin to feel the breath in different parts of your body. Notice the breath in the hair on your head. Feel the breath in the hair all over your body, your arms and legs. This is what spending time inward means. It's about connecting with the parts inside of us that are alive. Notice the breath in your teeth. Noticing the top row, the bottom row. You can go ahead and notice the breath in your nails. Take note how you're able to switch your attention from one part to the next. Each time bringing awareness to different parts inside of us. It's our attention that calms these parts inside of us down. Notice the breath in your toenails. Notice the breath in your heart. Taking a moment to feel the beat. I'll invite you to notice if that beat is fast. Maybe it's slow. And if it's hard to tell, I'll invite you to place your right hand on your chest and your left hand on your stomach. Just take a moment and notice what there is to notice. Feel what there is to feel. You may reconnect with that rise and fall of your chest. You may feel that beat. Might even notice the movement of your stomach. Tuning inward is what allows us to replenish our energy. It's not outside of us. It's about going inward. I'll invite you to place your hands back on your lap and continue to notice that breath as it comes and goes. You may notice the breath in your lungs as they expand and contract. These are your inner reserves doing the work, performing so much for us. We're taking time to pay attention to these reserves, again, so that we may bring light, energy, recharge. That's all found in the breath. Let's continue to follow it. Again, we're breathing in and out through our nose, and we're allowing our breath to be the anchor. The breath is what's pure, it's what's natural. It has the power to keep us alive, and all it asks for is attention, awareness. Just breathe. And again, if you find the mind wandering away, just allow yourself to return back home to the breath. We know the mind wants to think of all sorts of things in the future and in the past. Allow the breath to continuously bring you back here in the moment. And now that we've taken time and connected with our breath, let us bring awareness to the sensation of our thoughts. See if you can become an observer of your thoughts. Imagining your thoughts are like clouds in a sky. Just begin to watch those thoughts, allowing them to go by one, not feeding a story into those thoughts, but you're the observer. Watch them come and watch them go. And anytime you find yourself adding to a thought or creating a narrative around a thought, it's perfectly normal. See if you can allow that thought to pass and welcome a new one. And allow your thoughts to act as your breath. Let them come, let them go. As we watch our thoughts, we have a better understanding of the thoughts and gives us a better opportunity to manage and push the kind of thoughts that we want that supports a healthy life and healthy decisions. So continue to, again, watch the thoughts go by. One by one. You can allow yourself to come back to the breath. Begin to notice any shifts or changes. Are you breathing faster or slower? Is it heavier or softer? Can we be in this space and simply connect to the breath? Notice any changes in your body. Are you feeling more relaxed? Are you feeling more calm? Has the mind settled? Or so caught up in doing? Mindfulness is just about being. Can we just be? Be with our breath. We can begin to make our way back to our bodies in space. I'll invite you to wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing some warmth to your extremities. taking a moment to just thank yourself for showing up for this practice, thanking yourself for connecting with your breath. And when you're ready, I'll invite you back to open your eyes. All right. Just take a moment and notice how you're feeling. We just went through a mindfulness practice that allowed us to connect with our breath. And really, that's the secret sauce. Our breath has the power to naturally heal and balance us and gives us the power to connect with our inner reserves. And you did it. So I'll invite your reflections. How was it? What was that experience like for you? Did you feel the calm? Did you feel the peace? If you were able to connect with your breath, science says you felt it. Curious if any questions came up for you during this practice. You can feel free to ask them now in the chat. And we have a comment. Thanks for making me aware that I've been shallow breathing all day. My first deep breath today was here in your class. Needed that. Yes. It's oftentimes the simple things that are most difficult. And breathing, we always have access to it. So it's always great to be reminded of that breath because it's always accessible. So thank you for sharing that deep breath and continue to do that. It's there when you need it, whether you have 10 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe just have time for 3 breaths. We have a question in the chat. It says, I'm new to meditating. Is it okay to do my practice seated in a chair? Are there advantages to sitting on the floor? Listen, if you're new to meditating, I would highly suggest just getting into a rhythm of meditating. Find your space, find a place where you can consistently get into the practice. And I think what's most important is just finding a comfortable position. As you move further along in your practice, how you sit, where you place your hands, those things do matter. But the most important thing is to first start and develop a consistent practice with being with yourself, and don't get caught up in all the technicalities, but just get used to it because our minds don't naturally want to sit still. You have to train it. And depending on where you are in your practice, that can take time. So be patient with yourself and try to develop that consistent practice. And that leads me to a tip for new meditators. I always use this quote to my former middle school students. It said, little by little, a little becomes a lot. And oftentimes we try to capture this big ball of peace in one sitting or in one day. And oftentimes it's not how it works. You know, a base hit can win a game just as much as a home run. So try just getting those small practices in 10, 20, 30 minutes. But the idea is you want to be consistent. You can't just, do an overhaul one day and expect for that to last. It has to be a lifestyle. So little by little, a little becomes a lot. So I really guarantee that if you put that time in, you will see a shift in just your awareness. And that comes with time and with practice. So that's really the wisdom that I have is don't try to overcomplicate it. In this practice, we focused on the breath. And a lot of times people would ask themselves, okay, what more? What else can I do besides focus on my breath? Because people want more. We live in a more driven society. And I always have to take a pause and say, listen, the breath is enough. You take time to focus on it. So I want to thank you all for joining me for this practice. I had a calm and peaceful time with you all. You can certainly follow me on my profile to practice this session again and see when I'm going next, see when I'm going live next. So again, thank you all so much. May peace be with you, and I will see you all on the next live event.